Off the Cuff, where innovative minds share their stories. I'm thrilled to introduce Mr. Chirag Mavani, Chief Financial Officer at the Soul Store, a trailblazing D2C brand that brings pop culture to life through fashion. Chirag's journey from traditional finance to a leading creative powerhouse is truly inspiring. Let's dive into his insights on finance strategy and power of fandom.
It is an honor to have you here. Starting the podcast with an educational question. I want to ask you that you hold both CA and CS degrees. If you had to sum up each in one word, what would they be?
First of all, thank you. Thank you for having me here. Pleasure to be on this podcast. Yeah, so, I would say CA essentially helps you bring in a lot of precision, and CS is more about, building or kind of building a lot of emphasis around the governance aspect. So, this combination of precision with sound governance is a very good combination when it comes to building up a formidable function of finance and accounts because this combination kind of becomes a strong enabler for establishing good robust processes and control checkpoints that are required for organization to have in finance and accounts.
It was great to know that. Nextly, I want to ask you that what inspired you to join Soul Store, and what are your top priorities as a CFO of a company?
Uh, when I joined Soul Store, it was pretty small. So I joined in 5.5 years back. It was around 50 crores annual revenue, or let's say 4 crore, 5 crore monthly revenue that time. So it was a pretty small organization that time. And whenever you join a small organization, I think it's important to kind of evaluate the organization on basically three key parameters. One of them being, whether the unit economics, when it comes to a B2C brand, whether the unit economics are intact, or for any other organization which is small in nature, you would typically evaluate what the financial health of the company. And then there is the founder background that you need to evaluate. So I think all of these boxes were ticked when it came to the Soul Store because right from the beginning, right from its inception, I think Soul Store has kind of cracked the unit economics very well, and it is profitable. Founders' background is immaculate. I mean, you can't have more grounded founders than the one you have here in the Soul Store, and it's just exhilarating to kind of work with them because they've kind of played a very instrumental role in kind of driving the growth of the organization from 50 to 500 crores today. So TSS, I think the Soul Store for me, which is the TSS, which I call it TSS, it was like a right mix of art and hustle. So I often say when you don't want to be a small fish in the big pond, it's good that you kind of look out for a small organization and then try to do things which will kind of satisfy you. And I think TSS was one that kind of a place for me. So when I joined in, the priorities back then were to do some basic stuffs like to kind of ensure that the processes and are not processes are not in place. So I had to kind of fix up and kind of build in those processes and had to ensure that these processes are scalable in future. So because if when you grow and if the processes are not scalable, then you have to again redo the entire process. So you need to ensure that. And also, typically in a startup company or a small size company, you have issues of adequacy of funds because you will not have enough funds to do everything that you would like to do. So there will be multiple avenues. You'll have to kind of identify the ones where you feel the returns are going to be the maximized, and you'll have to let go a few of the other options. So yeah, those are the things which kind of were taken up as top priorities when I joined in at the Soul Store.
Great to know about that insight about the Soul Store. Nextly, you have been with the Soul Store since 2019, shifting from traditional finance to a creative pop culture brand. How has that transition shaped your role in the company, and what unique challenges did it bring with it along?
Uh, Essentially, in finance and accounts, your broad level role doesn't change. I mean, whether you work for a traditional setup or a brand like the Soul Store, which is a pop culture brand. Because in finance and accounts, it's all about managing costs, driving revenue, ultimately building up profitable and valuable business model, right? So that doesn't change. But what changes is the context. So uh, while you are managing balance sheet in both sides, but here you are also managing fandom. The fundamentals stay the same, but the the speed and the decisions that you take here are very different. So it's a fun basically. It's a fun because you have to kind of combine the financial discipline along with the cultural intuition that you have to kind of take care of.
Completely agreed on that. And it was something like which is new to us. As someone who has built financial systems for like various companies, what is that first thing you analyze when you join a new company?
Whenever you join a new company, right, you need to identify, like I mentioned, the start typically in a startup company, you will have limited funds at your disposal. So it's important to know how much breathing area you have in this company. It then becomes very much easier and clear for you to kind of experiment around the organization. Because then you know very clearly that these are the limitations you have, and this is when you'll have to actually pivot if you're not able to meet. So, uh, in my view, a healthy business model, uh, certainly a prerequisite, but the approach that needs to be phased out uh, is by focusing on basics first. And which I mentioned to you, need to fix the processes first, address the ambitious goals later. Because if you are not having a good, healthy, robust processes, you are likely to kind of fall down or succumb to some kind of a exigency. So it's important to have built in a good, robust processes which are scalable, and that will help you kind of sustain in the long run. So that your basic architecture foundation should be very strong. Otherwise, you'll have to redo the entire framework.
That was an excellent take on that, sir. Then my next question too is managing cash flow and budgeting in an e-commerce company is very different from a traditional business, right? What's a common financial mistake D2C startups make, and how does TSS or the Soul Store avoid it?
This is a very good question. I think I've said this in several forums and conferences. Do not over-index on growth. That's a very typical common mistake most companies make. Profitability is the key. Your entire business model has to reflect profitability aspect, or if there is not clear profitability at the at the current level, then at least there should be a path to profitability. And if the path to profitability also is missing, then I think you need to go and revisit the business model, get the unit economics in place. So remember, you will not be able to fill in a leaky bucket by just simply pouring in more water to it. You need to ensure your basics are fixed. You need to fix in those issues if there is a leakage. Ensure unit economics are intact. You need to generate profits eventually, and that is what will good. That is what matters for the stakeholders, right? And profitability plays a very vital role. So it's important to maintain the financial discipline, I feel, and also maintain a fine balance between kind of growth and profitability. Uh, we at the Soul Store focus a lot on unit economics. Right from beginning, I've told you, I mentioned to you, right from inception, we have been kind of tracking our unit economics very well. And also, apart from this unit economics, I think it's important to also understand how good are your repeats. Are we track our repeats rigorously? Because that's what is going to kind of enhance the LTV, what we say lifetime value of the customer. When LTV enhances, overall business proposition turns out to be a healthy one when it comes to financial terms, and that kind of helps you build up profitability. So it's kind of a catalyst when it comes to building profitability.
That was a fresh perspective for us, sir. Thank you. The fashion industry is infamous for the trends that fade overnight. How does Soul Store stay relevant while maintaining financial efficiency?
Uh, this is a this is something which is slightly confidential. We can't reveal everything, but if I have to give you a gist about it, agility is, I would say, is of paramount here. Uh, this is, I think, I mean, the entire success of a brand is built when when all the functions, like including the uh, marketing team, design team, data team, category team, supply chain, finance, all of them work together as a cohesive unit. And that's when they start delivering judiciously as per the requirement, that's when a good success is crafted. And there's a lot that goes beyond the soul store success. I mean, this is a simply small inference I can put up to you, but we do have to track religiously the inventory at SKU level, so that it is important to ensure, that inventory levels are very lean. You can't afford to go very heavy on the inventory days. Otherwise, the working capital goes for a toss. And if that goes for a toss, basically your business model is going to get impacted. Your cost of carrying the inventory will kind of destroy the entire unit economics that you've built on the business model. So there are a lot with small things like marketing team. If I have to talk about, they will be regulating their CAC, marketing CAC, cost of acquiring a customer, and we'll have to ensure that they are not overspending. So this is regulated at every single instance when they spend money on acquiring customers. So there's such small things which we need to take care of, and when everyone does their job well, every function kind of ensures that their contribution is taken care of by their respective function. I think success is then crafted.
Thank you for sharing that, sir. My next question to you is, what differentiates Soulstore in the competitive e-commerce landscape? How do you see the e-commerce industry evolving in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, again, a very good question. I feel what truly sets the Soul Store apart is the connection that we have built with our customers. We are not just a brand that sells clothes. We are a platform which celebrates our customer. For us, our customers are superheroes. We do not want, our customers to wear just our product, but also live the brand that we have built. So this emotional engagement that we have built with our customers has helped us create a far deeper loyalty beyond the monetary transaction. So this helps us, turn our customers into fans, and then these fans automatically become our brand ambassadors, brand advocates, basically. So that's the I think the success mantra that we have adopted uh, to be competitive in this landscape. Well, to answer your second question, how is the e-commerce industry going to evolve in the next 5 to 10 years? I think it's going to be more about, which company or which brand is able to kind of focus more on customer experience and the customer requirements, which I feel is of paramount. And how how sustainable the brand build-up is. Because I feel today's customer, and I would like your views as well. I feel you also will second this, that today's customer, they are ready to support brands which are sustainable, transparent, ethical, and responsible. They just don't look at the price point. They look at all of these parameters, and then they kind of decide to whom, which company they would like to, or which brand they would like to.
You think is the most craziest and you would like to buy immediately as soon as it releases? What kind of things you like about a design team? Yes.
Honestly, I have a lot of I love the polos that they release, so I keep a check on those. As soon as we launch new polo t-shirts, I would kind of go and buy those out. Uh, I I think I've come across an age group where I do not go for very funky designed t-shirt. So my preference is polo t-shirts, and I polo and even the shirts. So the shirt which I'm wearing today is a Soul Store designed t-shirt shirt. We have some very cool shirts. So whenever they launch some cool shirts, I'm kind of in for it, and I just love to kind of buy those products.
I would like to ask you a question, sir.
Sure,
What's the
sure.
one of the most underrated skill for a CFO in such a fast-growing consumer brand today?
I think CFOs are expected to deliver every single time, and it's expected, that there will be a lot of precision in their uh, artwork. So if you kind of, you know, let's say out of 100 times, even if you deliver 99 times, and if you miss out on the one single time, I think it's going to be a huge issue for everyone because a lot of dependency is there on the data points and the ecosystem revolving around the CFO. So that's, I think, something is a which is a kind of an issue. If you kind of fail once also, it's kind of a big blow for the
I would also like to ask you that what was your tradition like when you transitioned from working in a traditional corporate environment to joining a fast-growing consumer-driven brand like the Soul Store?
So when I joined the Soul Store, like I mentioned to you, it was a very small organization, and when I was working with a large scale company, I used to feel, that I'm doing I mean, like I was like a feeling like I was on a small fish in the big pond. So I always wanted to kind of move out of that space and get into a space where I'll be able to contribute, and my contribution will impact the organization. So I I that's what kind of led me to kind of look out for smaller size organization like the Soul Store. But my advice to people here would be, that when you do that, when you join a small organization, you need to be ready to unlearn. Because startups need flexibility more than the perfection. This is my honest view. And this is also an advice to the founders because, I've seen so many founders, they end up believing that, you hire a senior resource from a very well established organization and you're likely to solve up all the issues that you have in the function that you have hired the senior resource. That's a big myth. I think many founders fall into this trap. This is not how it functions because your startup success is because your startup success is built because you have kind of done something different and you will need a different kind of a mindset and a lot more flexible mindset to kind of counter the issues that you are kind of facing right now. So this is, I think, it's very important to be flexible. At the same time, be adaptable to whatever turns up because you don't know what's going to be happening next in the startup journey. The entire organization is going to go through that for the first time. So your structured corporate experience is valuable, but the ability to adapt will matter even more. So that's my advice to the founders as well as to the young people who are kind of looking forward to startups as part of their corporate journey.
You have heard that there is toxicity in corporate culture. So how do you deal with this? And is that similar thing ever happened with you in Soulstore?
No, so I think one of the best and one of the beautiful part about the Soul Store is that Soul Store kind of helps build creativity over excellence. I mean that they Soul Store allows you to kind of reflect upon your creativity. They kind of the atmosphere here is very cool. We believe, what we the designs that we have is a reflection of what culture we have in our organization. So it's a pretty non-toxic, to be specific, and a pretty cool culture that we believe in. Even the dressing attire that we have in our organization is of a very casual wear kind of a thing. So we do not pose any kind of restrictions on any kind of attires people would like to prefer wearing. We have no restrictions. If someone wants to kind of get their pets into their offices, we welcome those pets as well. So that's the kind of culture we live in, and we don't believe in any kind of political pressure to be created around our employees. We love the way we are. We love our family member, which is for us the entire team of the Soul Store, and we kind of would like to stay as cool as possible.
So I want to ask you that what do you expect the role of AI in the fashion apparel industry? Like how will it impact the industry?
I think AI is going to be playing a key and a very important role as we progress here. It's going to be already we are seeing a lot of impact in the industry today. If I have to talk about AI, A lot of our designing mockups is getting impacted because of AI. Already kind of has started kind of gaining popularity in this particular segments. Uh, Even in the other fields like marketing today, it's going to be of great use because it's going to be helping you kind of address the correct set of customer or correct set of audience and tap them and kind of push your push your campaigns to those specific audiences. So I think it's going to be playing a very critical role when it comes to AI in the fashion and apparel space. I think it's going to be it will play an important role across all kind of different industry, but it's going to impact apparel for sure.
My next question is, what's one lesson that you've learned throughout your career that you would like to share? And how do you handle failures or setbacks in your professional life? And any final advice for the young professionals who dream of leading finance for a top brand one day?
So one of the biggest lessons I have learned, I think, is to have clarity over speed. Earlier in my career, when I started my professional path, I was in a large organization, and I often used to equate that being fast is being effective. But I think over the time, when I started heading the function in several other organizations as well, apart from the Soul Store, I realized that thoughtful and well-informed decisions that, especially in finance function, have a far greater impact than quick ones, which are made sometimes in a urgency, and then that actually builds up a lot of pressure because your action sometimes can also jeopardize the entire organization's existence. So it's very important that you are applying a sound mind and take a decision which is thoughtful and well informed. That's my suggestion uh, to kind of any young professional who's kind of looking forward to build up a career in corporate.
My next question to you, sir, is if you could switch roles with anyone in the company for a day, who would it be?
For it, I mean, honestly, I can think of design team or CE team, customer engagement team, design team for because they create such stunning designs and cool designs which our customers just love to wear. So I would like to kind of be a part of that team. And CE team, the customer experience team because they are on the front end. They feel the pulse of the brand because they are constantly engaging the customers for getting their feedback on the hits and the misses, successes and failures. So that is a very powerful function which could shape more meaningful decisions for the organization. So yeah, either of these two teams, I would kind of.
That's a refreshing pick. So next question is, if the Soul Store had to make a t-shirt design based on your life, what would it say?
Uh, I would say be sensible and be logical. Because I feel the best outcomes are derived when you lead logically with clarity and sensibility.
That's amazing. If your team had to give you a nickname based on your work style, what would it be, according to you?
Consistent guy. I am not. I'm not big on shortcuts or surprises. I know I just like getting things. I mean, I just like getting the basic things right every single time. I believe in showing up every day with the same level of passion, focus, commitment.
That's great. What do you usually do on your day off, except for work?
Uh, if I have a day off, I would actually prefer to kind of go to a tranquil place, probably in the hills. Uh, just kind of take a break, completely slow down, and kind of the energy and vibes around you, which is in the tranquil place, should kind of help you rejuvenate both mentally and creatively. So that's what I would prefer doing.
So if you could have dinner with any person in the world, who would it be?
Any person, I would I would think I can think of Jack Ma, who had kind of built Alibaba in China. Given the kind of circumstances he had come through, I think I admire him for his resilience because he faced a lot of rejections and kind of never stopped believing in the vision. And today we know Alibaba has turned into a global tech giant. Uh,
If there's any one book or podcast that you would recommend to everyone, what would be?
Honestly, I do not. I refer to podcasts for current affairs largely. So yeah, I'm not. I mean, but otherwise, if I have to kind of look out for any kind of a routine podcasts or something, I would refer to kind of the financial podcasts which I take, which I listen to, which is the Economic Times podcast or be it Financial Express podcast, which it just kind of helps me relate with the current affairs as well as with the financial affairs.
Okay, so what's the craziest or something more spontaneous thing you ever done in your life?
Easiest thing would be what? I'm not able to recollect, but uh, maybe I had bunked my offices and kind of had gone for cricket matches in my early days.
Or what's the weirdest or most unexpected cost item you have ever thought to approve or just to buy? And then you just thought that's a waste of money.
There are many. I'm not able to recollect specific instances, but yeah, we've kind of spent. It very often happens that that you spend something in a very urgent, in a very urgency kind of a manner, but then you realize this was just not required, and you realize this could have actually helped you save a lot of money. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm not able to recollect those instances, but yeah, there are many which I've come across in my 15 years of.
Yes, it's an interesting choice. So let's move on to quick fire round. Stock or real estate?
Stocks.
Coffee or tea?
I'm a tea person.
Bollywood or Hollywood?
Uh, for the drama, it has Bollywood.
Okay. Work from home or office?
Office anytime. It just makes your life simpler.
Okay. Elon Musk or Sam Altman?
Elon Musk.
Why, sir?
I'm just I like the way he's kind of taken some aggressive stance and kind of he is something. He's someone whom I feel is reflection of his own self. He doesn't feel feared about it.
That's interesting to know, sir. I think that's it for the today's episode with Chirag Mavani, the CFO of the Sword Store. Thanks for tuning in. A huge thank you to you, sir, for sharing such insightful, honest, and refreshingly real perspectives. If you like this episode, hit follow and stay tuned for more inspiring stories. Until next time, keep learning, keep creating, and as the Soul Store would say, express yourself soulfully. Thank you.